Hello everybody. I am back with another video for you today. Um, Today we're focusing on subtracting fractions with integers. So we just did the addition. Now we're going to focus on the subtraction part. Okay? One thing for us to remember, and I know I mentioned this previously, but when a fraction has a integer, sign, it can be anywhere. It can be written at the top. It can be written sort of alongside of the fraction bar. And it could be written at the bottom. It all means the same thing. It does not matter where the integer sign is. The fraction is either all positive or all negative. So although they're written at 3 different places, all these mean the exact same thing. You have a negative 2/5. The whole thing is negative. Okay, so just like we did the previous day, I want to start out with a little bit of a review. Let's make sure we remember how to subtract integers before we add it to the fraction part of things. Okay, so subtraction. This problem says -6 minus 5. I hope as you looked at this problem, your thought is we're going to change this to addition. Right? And if you remember, we changed this by using leave, change, opposite. That was sort of a little trick we used to change this into addition. So we leave the first number alone, change this into addition, and then we're going to make this positive 5 its opposite, and that would be -5. And once we do that, we use our adding integer rules. So -6 plus -5 would be -11, right? Add and keep the sign. Let's go to the next one. 4 minus -2. So again, leave this alone, change this to its opposite, which would be addition, and make -2 into its opposite, which would be +2. So this is just a plain old 4 plus 2. Which is a +6. -3 minus -5. Leave, change this to addition, and -5 needs to become its opposite, which is +5. Again, now you have an addition problem. -3 plus a +5. 2 different signs, subtract, take the sign of the larger number. You get a +2. -2 minus 7. So leave, change, opposite. So -2 plus -7 is the problem. Like signs, add and keep your sign, you get a -9. And finally, 8 minus -1. So leave, change, opposite. So this is just a plain 8 plus 1, which is a +9. Okay, so hopefully that refreshed you on adding or subtracting integers. Excuse me. Okay, so the next thing I want to review is subtracting a plain old fraction. So our problem here on the right-hand side says 8/10 minus 2/6. If you remember, we need a common denominator. Right? So probably the best one I can use here would be 30. You could have used 60, but 30 is a lot smaller. Right? So 10 times 3 is 30. Right? To go from there to there, it's times 3. So I also need to multiply the top times 3, which is 24. If I go over here, 6 times 5 is 30. So I also need to multiply the top times 5, which makes this 10. So when we subtract, your bottom number stays, the denominator does not change, and we subtract the numerators. 24 minus 10 is 14. It's not improper, but I can reduce it because it's even. So if we divide by 2, we get 7/15 as our answer. And that's as low as it can go. Okay? So we've quickly reviewed subtracting integers and subtracting fractions. Now let's put them together so that we are subtracting fractions that contain integers. Okay, let's start off simple like we did yesterday with the adding, because I think that worked well for us. So on this page, you will see some subtraction problems that involve fractions that have like denominators. Okay, so we're going to handle this just like we did yesterday. So it has the same denominator. I don't need to find one. So when you subtract, your denominator stays the same. And now I need to calculate my top number. So look at the problem. This says 6 or negative 6 minus 2. So remember, subtraction, you have to do leave, change, opposite. Leave, change to addition, and this becomes its opposite. So your problem is negative 6 plus negative 2. Like signs, add and keep the sign. So my answer to this is negative 8/9. That is not improper, and I also cannot reduce it. So that's as low as it will go. Okay, let's move over to the next one. 8/10 minus negative 5/10. Remember, the parentheses are here to show you some separation between the negative sign and your subtraction sign. That's all. Okay, denominators are the same, so I'm just going to rewrite the 10 here. Let's calculate our numerators. 8, it says, minus a negative 5. So leave, change, and opposite. So this is just 8 plus 5, which is 13. So it's a positive 13 here. Now, this one is improper, so you do need to change. Use your division to change, and you'll get 1 3/10. It cannot be reduced, and there's no negative sign to bring with you. So my answer is just 1 3/10. Okay, let's move down a little bit here. So negative 3/8 minus negative 5/8. Okay, so again, we have the same denominator, so I'm just going to rewrite it. So it's 8 on the bottom here. And let's calculate our top numbers. Negative 3 minus negative 5 should be our problem there. Okay, so I need to do, because it is subtraction, I need to do leave, change, opposite. Leave this alone, change to addition, and this one becomes its opposite. Opposite of negative 5 is positive 5. So your problem is negative 3 plus positive 5, which would be a positive 2. So I have an answer of 2/8 here. Now, that is not improper, but it can be reduced, right? This could be divided by 2. It'll go down to 1/4. And this is positive, so there's no sign to bring along with me. So it's just a plain old positive 1/4. Okay, last one here. Let's look at this one. Negative 2/12 minus 7/12. Again, common denominator's already there. So let's rewrite the bottom number here with 12. And let's calculate our top numbers. It says negative 2 minus 7. So leave, change. The opposite of negative or positive 7 is negative 7 here. So my problem is negative 2 plus negative 7. So like signs, add and keep your sign. So we get negative 9/12. Okay, that can be reduced. We could divide those by 3. So if I divide by 3, my numerator is 3. If I divide the bottom by 3, it's 4. And I bring my negative sign with me. So it's negative 3/4 as my answer. Okay, so it's very similar to what we did the previous day with adding fractions. We just have to remember to do leave, change, opposite up here first. Okay, let's move and focus on fractions that have unlike denominators. Okay, so on this page, we are going to subtract fractions that have different or unlike denominators. So just like previously, we still have to find a common denominator. So in this problem, I would say my common denominator is going to be 15. So I'm going to put my 15 down here. And I need to change the numerator. So times 3 here. So if I multiply the top by 3, I get 12. Bring your negative sign with you. Over here, this is times 5. So if I multiply the top by 5, I get 10. And that one is positive, so there's no need to bring a sign. So when we subtract, bottom number stays. And let's figure out the total of our top here. So negative 12 minus 10. So leave, change, opposite. So my problem is negative 12 plus negative 10, which is negative 22. Now, that is improper, so I'm going to change it. It would become 1 7/15. That cannot be reduced. And I also bring the negative sign with me. So my final answer would be negative 1 7/15. Okay, let's move to this one. Again, 5/6 minus negative 2/4. So again, I don't have a common denominator. I'm going to find one. I'm going to use 12, although you could use 24, 36, anything like that. I'm just going to use the smallest one. So 6 times 2 is 12. Make the top times 2. This would be 10. If I go over here, 4 times 3 is 12. Multiply the top times 3 and you get 6. Bring the sign with you. Okay, so now when we subtract, denominator stays. So it stays as 12. When I go to my numerators, the problem is 10 minus a negative 6. So leave, change, opposite. So this just becomes 10 plus positive 6, which would be 16. So this one is 16 over 12. Improper fraction, if you change it, you'll get 1 4/12, which can be reduced. 4 and 12 can be divided by 4. So you'll get 1 1/3. There is no negative sign here, right? We had a positive numerator. So final answer is 1 1/3. Let's move on here. Negative 6/9 minus negative 2/6. I need a common denominator. I'm going to use 18. Again, other ones will work also. I'm just going to use 18. Need to find a new numerator. So 9 times 2 is 18. If I multiply the top times 2, I get 12. Bring your negative sign with you. If you go over here, 6 times 3 is 18. So times 3 here is 6. Bring my negative sign again with me. Okay, so we're ready because we have a common denominator to solve this. So my denominator stays the same as 18. Numerators say negative 12 minus a negative 6. So leave, change, opposite. So your problem is negative 12 plus a positive 6. So two different signs, so I subtract and keep the sign of the larger number. So that makes this a negative 6 here. Now that one's not improper, but it can be reduced. You could divide both of these by 2, you could do 3, we can even do 6. So let's divide by 6. I will get 1/3. And again, bring my negative sign with me. It's negative 1/3 as our final answer. Okay, last problem here. So why don't we try this one on your own? Take a minute and pause, and let's see if your answer is the same as mine. So I'm going to start by finding a common denominator. 10 and 4, I'm going to use 20. Okay, let's change our numerators now. 10 times 2 is 20. Multiply the top times 2, you get 4. Bring my negative sign. Go over here. 4 times 5 is 20. Multiply the top times 5, which is 15. There is no negative sign, so this is just a positive 15/20. Okay, so we are ready to solve. My denominator stays the same, so it will be 20. And we have to figure out our numerators. So the top says -4 minus 15. All right, so leave, change to addition, and this would become the opposite of positive 15, which is -15. Okay, so my problem is -4 plus -15. Like signs, we're going to add and keep the sign. So if I add, I get 19. I keep the sign. And it's not improper, so I don't need to change it. And that cannot be reduced. That's as low as it will go. -19/20. Okay? So as you see, it's very similar to addition that we did the other day. Only difference is that we have to do leave, change, opposite when subtracting. So there is some practice for you to do on Schoology. Just like you did yesterday. So work on that. Let's see how you do. If you have questions, please message me. All right? Have a great day, guys. Thanks.